He said, I was upset, but I know that I can't hold on to something like this. I know that I've got to make a choice with myself. Like, how long are you going to be upset about this to the point where you're going to let it affect what you do on the floor or how you approach the game? Once it gets there now, I got to make a grown man decision and tell myself, look, man, no matter what, you still got to come to work every single day. It's going to work out. It's going to figure itself out. So with that thought on the table, we are delighted to welcome in Stephen A. Smith, who got through the worst traffic of the entire year and just barely made it. So thank you, Steve, for coming.
Yes.
And let us start there. Someone brought up in our meeting this morning, and it just feels like the notion that this is KD's last year in Golden State is just it's almost factual. It's almost something people are stating as though it is real. And Jalen said he thinks Draymond is sort of set up to be the villain in this, to be the scapegoat, if you will, based upon the way this whole thing is playing out. So what do you make of what KD said?
Well, I think KD is telling the absolute truth when he says it'll have no effect on him free agency-wise. Why? Because he, in my opinion, his decision was made before this season even began. Whatever decision he's going to make has already been made. And it wasn't because of Draymond Green. Draymond Green is not going to influence him one way or another. I think he walked into this season with the mindset that this would probably be his last year. I think they're expecting the three-peat. He three-peats. He has just as many championships as LeBron. And then I think that he'll be looking for new pastures, not greener pastures, because it can't get much greener than the Golden State Warriors. Right. But in terms of KD and his own individual legacy, I think it's one of those situations where he's looking at himself and he's saying, okay, what other challenges are out there for me? I got my rings. I'm making my money. I'm good. And walking into the season, he had that mindset because based on the people that I've talked to, I think that had a lot to do with what Draymond said to him in the huddle because of all the stuff that we feel is inevitable.
And I like that KD is pretty much trying to end the narrative because he has bigger fish to fry, quite frankly. They've lost 3 straight games. First time in Steve Kerr's tenure that he's lost 3 straight on the road.
Yep.
In his last game, he shot 8 for 25 from the field, 1 for 8 from 3. He needs to get back on track, and by erasing all the noise, he helps himself and his team put themselves in a position to win.
But you can't say that Draymond has nothing to do with his decision because I think the circumstances, I agree, Draymond is not the main reason, but the circumstances, I think, in that city impact the way that he made, or the reason why he may leave if he does leave. And Draymond is part of them circumstances. I think you get the good with the bad. He won championships because of Draymond, and maybe the conditions in that locker room are something that is untenable.
Well, that's a different subject. That's a different subject because what I was implying about Draymond not having any impact, meaning the incident that took place against the Clippers.
Right.
I'm not saying that coming, based over the last 2 years, whatever experiences that you may have had may ultimately influence what you wanted to do. I'm saying that one game against the Clippers, the decision in all likelihood, whether he stays or leaves, appears to have been made prior to that game.
It does bring up the question, though. You mentioned there are no greener pastures, right? They're moving into a new arena. They're the best team in the NBA, and if they stay together, they figure to be that for a long time. He can make all the money in the world there. Why does he want to leave Golden State?
Well, again, you leave Oklahoma City because you're chasing a championship. You get to Golden State. Everyone accused you of riding coattails, but you're a 2-time NBA Finals MVP. You averaged 35 and 8 in the finals against LeBron. The brother KD is big time, make no mistake about it. And still there are questions. Once you have the money, once you achieve the championships, then in order to continue to play your career, what's the challenge? What are you looking for? We are always in search of anybody that's got a competitive bone in their body is always interested and concerned with new challenges that are coming up. What can make me get up every morning and look forward to embracing the challenge of going to work every day? Sometimes you could be in a situation in Golden State where it's like, what's the challenge with the crew that we have? Think about that.
And it's about legacy as well. You see what LeBron James did, leaving Cleveland after winning a championship. It's about sometimes greener pastures are not actual, but the reality is, how are you going to challenge yourself in your career moving forward? So to me, it's about Kevin Durant reclaiming his legacy.
The only one thing I'd like to add is this. No matter what KD does, even winning NBA Finals MVPs is still Steph Curry's city. It's still Steph Curry's town, Steph Curry's team. You don't know whether that's cool. That might be cool with him now. You don't know how he's feeling once he won those championships.
Well, we got a big city here that would lose its collective mind if we could get Kevin Durant to New York. Super quick, what do you expect tonight in Cleveland as far as a reception for LeBron?
I expect the city of Cleveland and the entire area of Northeast Ohio to stand up and give LeBron James a standing ovation and give him the level of praise that he so richly deserved. They should be thankful they had him for those last 4 years. They owe him everything. He owes them nothing, and they need to remember that and treat him accordingly tonight.
They don't deserve him. They never did. I never forgave him for the first time.
Let's stay in the holiday spirit.
Maybe LeBron forgave him, but I still haven't
Let's stay in
forgiven
the
him.
holiday spirit.
I hate bleeping Cleveland.
And one thing that just became a thing here, and I have to let you go, but this whole Cavs, as they're currently constructed against Duke thing, where do you fall on that thing?
I think the Cavs are just god awful. I mean, I saw Jay Williams this morning briefly talking about how Duke could beat him. I think that's going a little bit too far. That's going a little bit too far because you got experienced guys that'll pound the ball inside that could do some things with them. I wouldn't go that far, but the fact that it's even a question mark speaks to the moribund state of affairs in Cleveland.